So not everyone who plays sports is an athlete, and not every athlete just plays sports. And what I mean is there's some people who are maybe soccer players, volleyball players, basketball players, but they're not athletes. And so as Whit and I were looking at this journey that we're on to help people really awaken their inner athlete and be able to apply that to the areas in their life that matter, not so much their basketball or their football, but their marriage and their health and their faith in Christ and their financial freedom as they pursue it. We really wanted to identify what's the difference between someone who plays sports and someone who's an athlete. And one of the things that comes to mind is the relationship with discomfort. Now, anyone knows that if you're trying to get good at a sport, there are things that are required that are difficult, mentally and physically. But let's just focus on the physical. I hate wind sprints. I think wind sprints are the hardest thing I have to do, especially when I have a coach who's telling me how fast to run, how far to run, and how long to rest in between before I have to go again. That's tough. But there are two options that a volleyball player would take to that. One is they would run from it. The other is they would start a war against it. The option of being an athlete is to create a friendly relationship with it, to figure out how can this be not dreadful? How can I come up with a way to, put my hand on the shoulder of the guy next to me or the girl next to me and say, come on, yeah, this is tough, but we're gonna go, and there's a reason why we're doing this, and we've got championships in our future, and I wanna be there for my teammates. And I start diving into my whys, I start knowing what I'm trying to do, I start getting into the bigger picture of what's happening here, and I actually develop a friendly relationship with discomfort. The second one has to do with being process focused. And so a lot of times you will see someone who plays a sport being kind of overly obsessed with their medals, their trophies, their ribbons, the outcomes. This is my win-loss record. This was with the score. Look at how bad I beat this person, whatever, or how bad I lost. And they're on this emotional roller coaster of highs and lows. Where when you meet an athlete, especially if you have the chance to talk to or interview an elite athlete, I actually spoke one time to Riley McKibben, who's a professional beach volleyball player, and he was saying that he's in love with the eureka moment, that what he loves most about his athletic journey are the moments when he gets to see where he can make a 1% adjustment, where he can be just a little bit better, that gives him access to the creativity that he gets to exhibit to solve the problems that occur in the moment as the game is unfolding. And I could see his passion, his desire, and I'm like, yes, that's the difference of an athlete, is they're looking for, how can I be innovative when I'm up against the wall? Another one is that an athlete is good at self-talk. And they develop this skill as a skill. They don't just say, oh, I'm bad at talking to myself. Like I have bad self-talk or I have good self-talk. No, what they understand is that what they want is confidence. They want to be experiencing confidence when they step on the court, because that gives them access to their best skill level. That gives them full access to the skills they want in this moment. And what they realize is that when they were young playing sports, their coach did a lot of the confidence giving. The coach took a high responsibility, a very high touch in offering confidence. But as you get older, the coach's role becomes way more about strategy, and the player then takes on their own responsibility for leveling up their confidence. And that requires that player to learn to talk well to themselves. So they may ask themselves a question, when they're kind of beating themselves up or talking themselves down after an error. What would I say to a teammate? What would I say to a friend? How can I offer that to me? And of course, there's going to be resistance, but remember, they have a friendly relationship with discomfort. And so they're not going to run from that resistance, and they're not going to battle that resistance. They're going to figure out how to build the relationship because they know this is a valuable skill that they want to build. Another difference you'll see between someone that plays sports and an athlete is the contribution to be a part of something bigger. It's not just about me. I'm a teammate. That's what I'm doing here. I'm contributing in some way. Now that could be directly in something like a marriage or a business where you're like literally contributing to an actual team that's around you, or it could be that you're contributing legacy, that you're contributing a better world, that you're actually looking at being part of some sort of a movement or something that's going on, and you're going to contribute in some way and just sort of leaving the world a better place. And what you'll find is that gets you sort of less results focused, as we were talking about before, and more into this idea of, what can I do to leave it better than I found it. And the last one I want to mention is probably the toughest one. Someone who plays sports blames and an athlete doesn't. And it's not because of some sort of like true and false, right, wrong, who's at fault and who's not at fault. The idea is that they know that blaming leaves them no options, and they want options. They want to have the mindset that there is always a solution, that they have access to information, there are options, and they can come up with a solution to whatever's going on. And the only way to do that is to have control. And the only way to have control is to take it on yourself, to take responsibility, because the only thing you actually can control is your attitude and effort in the present moment. Can't control the future, can't control the past, can't control other people, can't control the weather or the circumstances. You can only control you. So because of that, the athlete takes on a zero tolerance policy on blame. And so I want you to think about this. If you really were to start taking these characteristics on yourself, and let's get them out of, the way that we imagine them in a football game. I even think about like kickers who won't even blame the snow. They're like, no, I can make this field goal. If we take it out of that football game, take it out of the basketball game and into your life, and you start looking at some of these characteristics and how to awaken this inner athlete, you'll find that it offers you a whole new perspective on your challenges, your obstacles. You start running toward them. You start courageously running toward the Goliaths in your life. You start walking forward knowing that this next step forward is the one that could part the Red Sea. You've got just a different mentality. And one of the places I saw it most is we were coaching a woman who was trying to learn some business skills, and she was really frustrated. She had a lot of negative self-talk, a lot of history and belief that she was behind, she was too old, she didn't understand what was going on, and man, the excuses were just coming out. And then Whit actually asked her, well, tell me about, what it was like back when you were adventuring. She used to do a lot of outdoor adventure stuff. And she's like, I'm sure there were obstacles that came up. Like, how did you respond when those obstacles stopped you? Little baiting question. And so she, of course, comes forward. Obstacles didn't stop me. I wouldn't let obstacles stop me. I would find a way around it. I could do anything. My friends would all say, how could you do this? How could you do that? Aren't you scared? And I would say, yeah, I'm scared, but that doesn't stop me because I've got this life out. And all of a sudden, she just, boom, she became a different person. That was super fun to see and coach. And what Whit did right there is that she woke up her inner athlete. We brought the inner athlete out to the table. And now that athlete was able to see options, to see 1% adjustments, to see what she could contribute to something greater than herself, where she could take responsibility. And all of these things came together, and all of a sudden the ideas started flowing for her business. And I don't want to say that like in moments like that, it's not really my role or Whit's role or our desire in our life to be able to say, these are the 5 steps that you need to build your business right here. Or if you did these 3 things, your marriage will be better, or eat these foods and all of a sudden you'll find that you weigh less, or do a devotion on these days and your relationship with Jesus is going to be like this. That's not really what we're interested in. What we do, our skill, our business, our life, and the way that we've found that is the best and most authentic for us to change people's lives is that we awaken your inner athlete. And when your inner athlete shows up, you solve those problems. You know what to do. You've got the motivation, the inspiration, and you're the one that's driving this ship. And we've just found that it's been so much more effective than teaching or providing strategy for, solving those things. Do they exist? Yeah, of course they do. And that's like maybe like part B. But part A, the first thing that you want to do is find that identity, find that inner athlete. And then you can start jumping into the map that we've sort of built our business around, where you're just going to come up with a strategy, execute it, reflect on how it went, look for those 1% adjustments, just this real simple, unstoppable cycle that we call the map. But all of it runs on this identity. And so what we want to offer you is how to awaken this inner athlete. And so if you look in the description below, we're just going to offer a few different questions you could ask yourself. And it's not that the answers are what you're looking for, it's that the asking, the reflecting on those questions. When you start asking those questions about your struggle, you will find that your inner athlete shows up. And if you have too hard of a time finding them, reach out. It's what we do.
Thanks for sticking around to the end, and thanks so much for supporting Whit and I as we set out on our mission to spread this information out into the world so that anyone who needs it can have it. If you've been around us for years, or maybe this is your first time here and you're wanting to take this information and make it a little bit more personal, there are 3 super fun ways to work with us. Number 1, you can join our lifetime membership, where we will help you build your consistency by awakening your inner athlete. The second way is traditional one-on-one coaching. We take on a limited number of one-on-one clients, and we try to keep that number small and intimate so that we can make sure that you're feeling connected and supported. The third way is a client favorite, our adventure retreats. We believe that adventure is where fear marries fun. And when you've got 2 coaches as guides and the adventure shows up, you can't help but get unstuck. So if any of that sounds good to you and you'd like to take this a little bit deeper, you can get more information at www.steadfastlifecoaching.com. We look forward to getting to know you guys.